Alrighty, another fun-filled day. Today is Happy to Hump Day, right? Yes, Wednesday. All right, Doc here from North America. Another fun-filled day. Let's check it out. I did notice, it's amazing. We talk about this a lot. Back in the old days, there was just a few exchanges. The data was up to date. They followed the law. In other words, if you're a public company or a commodity traded live, you're supposed to disseminate, mean provide the last transaction whenever it occurs. And what we see now, we have 47 exchanges, or what they call ECMs, exchange something merchants. And we have black pools, and they're hiding. They hide a lot of action. And then the way the Securities Exchange Commission and the Commodities Futures Trading Commission justify this by breaking the law all the time is the way they justify it is they say, well, if you put the information in by the end of the day, and then for the Securities Exchange Commission, sometimes it can be 2 or 3 days later, or not at all, because they don't do any investigation for it. So in the end result is that when we update our charts, there's more trades in there, there's more volume in there, and it's like, what? Where did that come from? And our math is built on the idea of reality. So every so often, something occurs. Now, I noticed this morning, let's show it to you. Let's show it to you, as I said, and that is silver. Silver went into a daily sell last night at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I mean, it was in a daily sell. 6 o'clock, it was in a sell, so forth and so on. But by this morning, let's show you what's going on with it. The math is turned, and it's changed, and it's trying to go back. It isn't in the buy, and it never went into the sell. Now, it doesn't really matter since we're in a weekly buy anyway. You wouldn't go short. All you do is take a profit. How hard could it be taking a profit if you've been following our math all the way from the very beginning? And that is that it's actually doubled in price. And so it's not like it's the math, not like the math system is telling you to get short up there. It's just telling you to take a profit. So, and now let me show you Silverado right there. Let's just move that over. And giving us, it's still, again, no, it's probably up. It's up. And you can see right there, or is that right there? 27, 28, yes. So right there on the edge, and then this was way down lower than that, which put it into the sell. But in actuality, it's not in a sell. So we're going to remove that like that, and then go from there. Now let's see, what do we have on there? Oh, they're knocking the stock market down a little bit there. Let's take a look at the euro, and then we can always go back and let me see if anybody's. Hey, see Venel Trader. Venel, I like that. BOMDIA. Dead in arrival. Nah. The Dow diamonds. You'd like to check out the Dow? Sure. We just have it up there too. Just happens. No traders. This is not an inside job there. Venel. Let's see if I derive something out of it. Venel Trader. I like that. Like vanilla trader. Like plain simple trader. I like that. Because hell, everybody wants to keep it simple. I agree. That's my drive every day to try to keep it simple. So vanilla trader. Cool. Like vanilla ice. I think that's neat. All right. Let me just. Yeah. There we go. All right. So now you can see that's pre-market right there. They're knocking it down. Let's take a look at the stock indice on our machines here. We'll show you the S&P 500 right there. Is it? Yeah. It's not really doing too much. See that right there? This is an intraday that I use, and it's a really good tool, and you can see it's at the highs there. So they're really not knocking the stuff down. Now when I go over to my weekly, let's decrease that like so. Whoa, that's not right. Okay, that's not the weekly. Let's go back to silver there. Okay, now right there it is. There's the Dow, and these two lines are fascinating in the sense that was the last good channel. It broke out of it. It climbed. It broke the channel here. This is using theoretical. This is kind of like that Hinky-Ashy in a sense. I've been doing this since 1981, and using the theoretical high and the theoretical low, and that's what generates the green. I put the green on the bar itself from that, and there was a theoretical high and a theoretical low, and it changed, and I use that to define points in space. And you can see there to there, and it rode it for a while. And once it breaks it, a lot of times, like 9 out of 10 times, it likes to change its direction. In this case here, when it developed that, let's see, where did it develop? It developed it from here to there, I guess it would be. Yeah, so this was following that pathway. Where was this one? This was following that pathway, like that, and that pathway, and they crossed. When they do that, it tells me some wild action is coming. When they do that crossing thing, you see a couple of those in there. It's very rare for them to do that crossing thing. And you can see here, that generated that to that, so we were measuring from here to there, and telling us when it gets through that there's going to be strength, breaking the uptrend there. And you can see here, this is really crazyville. You know, it was really tight, enormously tight, and it broke it, and it's falling down, but it won't go down and touch this older one, and it just seems to be hesitating. So there's your Dow Jones Industrial Average on a day-to-day basis. You can see we're in a weekly buy from here. I think we went into a weekly sell here for 1 week, then we were a weekly buy back in here, and it, you know, threw up into the sky. It climbed. Daily sells, and daily buys, daily sell, so forth. Is that helping out, Vanilla? Does that make any sense to you there? And then it went into a daily sell here, and it did roll over, then it went into a daily buy there. Let's put that in. And that was the daily buy, and that next day it went into a sell. We can steal that one and move it over and just change the color. There we are. And then it went into the sell again. It's the same rules, line, green line, or white line, depending on the chart, with the histogram. When they're both minus, it's a sell. When they're both plus, it's a buy. If it's in a weekly buy and they're on a buy, you can buy. If they're in a weekly buy and a daily sell, you take profit. You can't short it. Okay? That's the whole concept of this mathematics. Okay. Let's see. Where do we go from here? Let's go over and take a look at the euro this morning. See if it's going through the roof. And I hope, Vanilla, that helped out a little bit with that BOMDIA. I'm not sure what BOM stands for. Buy on market, maybe? That could be, you know, it could be buy on market diamonds. It could be. And it's showing strength here. Matter of fact, you can see here it's trying to trade into the daily buy. Now, it needs just the green dot. With a red and green dot, it means to buy it on the market after it has settled and you know, going into the next day, and that's how that usually works. Hesitate, in other words, and then buy it when it shows that the next day the green line is plus and the histogram is plus, and then you can buy it. All right, which can be 2 hours later after the settlement, or it can be, you know, 8 hours later. You have to watch the lines. All right, now let's go over to the euro and see what the euro is up to, unless anybody wants to see something else, and then I will stop from going to the euro, and I will go to whatever you would like to see, because we like questions. Let's see, right there, 1730. I think that's a little bit firmer today. That seems like firmer, yes. Okay. It's loading up now, and it's loading up now. Oh, it's 1 minute. Sorry about that. Day. There it is. Okay, and there's the euro. You can see it's been climbing up. You can see on the J4X, you can see the two stochastics are doing their job, just doing a little rolling over, nothing major. The rate of change is trying to roll over a little bit. And then let's take a look at it in our algorithm. Open sesame. And there we go. Hi ho, hi ho. Let's see, as we take a sip of water. And that is NAS dollar. And there is euro. You see it's doing the same thing as the J4X. Oh, no, you can't see that. Let's get that right there. So you can see there, it's doing that rollover thing like the fast stochastic's doing. You can see the slow stochastic is moving down. And but we're cleanly up on the weekly, and we're still in a daily buy and so forth. So 54, if you're out there, I hope you're doing some of the hedging we've been begging you to do since 112.75 to 113. Silver, very quiet. Yeah, it is. the silver has been, I guess they're trying to figure out what do we do next. I mean, it has doubled since we went on the rampage about silver. It's actually doubled. It has gone up. Let's see. Since we started talking about it at 14, it's more than doubled. It's gone 2.5 times up. So we started talking about it in 1180s that day, and the 12s, and we went into the weekly buy somewhere around the 13s or 14s, and so it's gotten to 26. So anywhere's in there, you could say it's at least doubled, if not gone 2 point something, from 1171 to. I mean, we didn't pick that bottom. We just saw it in the 11s and said, this is ridiculous. You got to own this. No math needed. It's the world is in a pandemic. The world is in a calamity. And one of the products that's considered a safe haven, like Bitcoin and so forth, is being sold into the ground. So it was obviously somebody hedging and or just getting blown out, one or the other. And it was obviously free money. And we talked about it that day even. You can go back to the webinars and see it. Let's see. Danny says, let's see what Daniel says. You can cover Bitcoin and look at it? Sure. Let's see. I think it's in a daily buy again, isn't it? Let's see. Where are we on that? Let's go to our spreadsheet. And there it is on our spreadsheet. We're 1 week in a buy, 8 days in a buy. Let's take a look at it on J4X. There's the dollar index too. That's cool. We'll have to check that out. And where are you? Bitcoin. There it is. There's Bitcoin looking firm and steady there too. Looking very firm. And like I said, we've 8 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the 9th day. That red one put us in the buy, down at 9,000. And where's it trading now? In the 11,000. So, ever since it went into a daily buy, now we had to wait for our weekly. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, we're back here. So we went into the weekly buy in the 9s, 9.9, 9.8, 9.5, something like that. 9.3. Looks like 9.4. So it's going up very well using our Chicago Quant or the Docs algorithm. Let's take a look at it here. Looking at the algorithm. Right there is the weekly. Where's the daily? There's the daily right there. Let's make that darker so you can see the thing. There you go. There's the daily. That was kind of cute. We got 2 red dots, but this line was just in the plus, and then the next day it really pushed it into the plus, even with another red dot there, which was cool. So didn't put you in a sell. And then the next day, either way, if it had been very close and you were just looking, and I think we can widen that. What happened was the black histogram didn't go minus that day. No, not like that. It's just like that. And that's what happened there. The black histogram just held on, and then the white line went minus, and then the black histogram stayed plus again, and the white line actually, you can see it there. What is that? Plot 1 is that -5? -5. But you can see there, plot 5 is plus, and then it just kept on riding that pony from the 95.5s up to the 11s. Ride that pony. Let's see. Oh yes, I saw that. I guess, like I said yesterday, whatever deal was made is over with. Whatever, we'll have to look in the news and see what is what's changed. Obviously something changed. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the Turkish lira. The deal is done. Or the few traders that trade that thing were on vacation. It's one or the other. Oh, no, that's euro. I'm wrong one. I was excited. I was excited there for a minute. 8. Oh my God. Okay, there it is. Going to the 7 again. Okay. Yeah. And where are we on that? That's 17? 34 weeks in a buy and 1 day in a buy. Let's take a look at that. Let's see, day week. Let's see, Dookie day week. Okay, good. Here it is. Right there. Ooh. Do 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 do. Yep. So it hasn't really gone much since it went into the buy there yesterday, anyway. Yeah. So it's just not too much more. What a jam to the moon, huh? Wow. And remember, traders, again, if it went into the daily sell while we're in a weekly buy, all you're doing is take out a profit. You're not getting short or something like that. So if you're getting short, you might be feeling pain when you short something that's in a weekly buy. 54. 54. So when you fool around being short something that's in a weekly buy, 54, you basically bury yourself. And that's usually the name of the game there. Try not to bury yourself. Longevity is the key. Now, that flatness has to be one or two things. A deal, or literally it's not traded by almost anybody, and whoever does trade it went on vacation for a long period of time. It's one or the other. I don't know. Okay. Where do we go from here? You have any particular interest, Daniel? Anything else? La la la. All right, then what we'll do is we'll go to Canadian and see what it's doing. Canada, right there. It got close yesterday. I noticed that. See, it's trying to bounce up. Look at that rate of change, outpacing everything else. That's a rarity. And let's take a look at it there. Can we do that? No, I got to use that mouse. As you can see, it's gotten tight right up in here. So we're seeing the tightness there. But we're still in the sell. And, right here it's been in a clear sell. That's the weekly sell signal. And there's the daily sell signal. And so it's just been riding like a pony. And that is line 20 right there. So we are 2 weeks in a sell, 10 days in a sell. Again, as usual, name another market technician that puts their track record on the screen live every day. Is that cool or what? You see, Daniel says that 6.97 to 976 to 6.980 is R2 monthly for Turkish lira. Would be great if it breaks out that level for safety. I have a bad feeling that this has gone the way of the South African rand and the ruble and a lot of these other products that we've seen where it's going higher. It doesn't show. It really doesn't show any. There's nothing really. That long stretch of 6 weeks or 5 weeks of almost no action is screaming something, and I sure would like to know what it is, because it's really saying something and I don't understand it. Just that we can only make some guesses. I would, and my same guess there was what you're saying, is that it wouldn't surprise me if it tries to make a breakout up on the upside and becomes way more higher in number, lower in value. Let's see. For the long safety, yeah. Well, actually, remember, as it rises, it's losing value. So in other words, you can get 10 of them. Right now you can get almost 7 of them for the dollar. 34 weeks ago. Where was it 34 weeks ago? Let's take a look. Do we have it up there still? I don't think we do. Let's just take a look at it on J4X. It'll be very insightful. 34 weeks ago. Let's put a weekly in there and just count back 34 of those. So that's 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it was all the way down into the fives. So, back then, someone could get, for every dollar, they could get 5 of these Turkish liras. Now they go to Turkey when they get 7 of them. So that's a pretty wild inflation. So that is what it is. What it is what it is. Okay, so we were looking at Canada. Did we derive anything from Canada? I don't think we had a chance, did we? Let's see what Canada is doing. The daily. And you can see this is moving down, so we assume that the oil is doing some firmness somewhere. Let's just take a peek. Let's see, where is oil? Oil is up 33 cents. Yesterday it was, was it down? It was down 33 cents or 25 cents. And the end result is it's in a daily buy. It's a slide up right there in line 5. 12 weeks in a buy, 4 days in a buy. It's in a buy. And so, that usually puts some strength into the Canadian. So in other words, this is Canadian against the dollar. So you're getting less Canadian currency for a $1 bill as this thing goes down. So that's a positive for the economy there to some extent. Obviously, manufacturing and so forth has its issues at times, but overall, it's good for the population to some extent. And it's hard to say always how to measure it exactly, especially in this era. So that's what that's doing. Now let's jump over to NASCAD. NASCAD jumped into a daily buy yesterday. And it's in 10 days in a daily buy. And that usually marches with the oil, which you can see is 12. And a lot of times Canadian marches with it. So I need to take a bite of an apple. I was out working hard in the field and came up no more than like 6 minutes before the whole webinar opened up. So I've been out there being a migrant labor, migrating from this house down to that house and out into the field. So let me take a bite of the apple. Excuse me for a second. My stomach is growling a little bit. Let's see. Daniel says, if this is euro-run countries, it might go euro-dollar to 125 or even 140. Wow. Wow. I don't know. Like I said, I don't usually look at that way, except for maybe in looking at monthly charts. Let's see. Interesting how Euro CAD is up with Euro and the dollar CAD down. That would make sense. The dollar is falling against the euro, so that does make sense. All right, I ate some nuts. I had a bite of the apple. I mean, really, an apple. And I'm drinking some water. I feel a little bit better. I was feeling not lightheaded, but close to it. All right, here's I was out there since a couple hours now. Since 5:30 a.m. in Eastern Standard Time. All right, so Canadian. No, this is. Did we put it up there? Not yet. Let's put NASCAD up there. Right there, Looney. Is it holding up? No, it's generating a red. Let's take a look at it here. And with the oil being firm, you would think NASCAD would be firm. Let's see. Right there. Nah, it's breaking down again. Because it did. We can move that buy over. Went into the buy there. Now it's trying to push into the sell. Let's get a new one there going. We'll see by the end of the day, but it looks like it's trying to push back into that sell. I guess, that you brought up an interesting question and opinion, and that is that for the, the euro and all that, I guess money is running towards it. I mean, that's what we're really seeing, or they're running away from the dollar, which is, okay with me. We want a lower dollar around here anyway. So, I thought it would go to the 87s in the dollar index, and let's see where the dollar is. Um, I saw yesterday we looked at it, it was in the 93s, like 93.70 or something like that, 93.8. Let's see, right there. There we go. 93.55, just a little bit lower again. So, and I think we're 2 weeks in a sell there. So that's pretty cool. At least, it's in the right direction from that little bounce there. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this is really the third week now. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So went into the weekly sell on this week right in here. And it's gliding down from the 96s down into the 93s. So, all right. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine a euro at 125? Well, 125 doesn't sound so outlandish. 140 sounds outlandish. But we'll see. I mean, is it a flight to safety, or is there are people actually paying attention to the goofy polls around here? Boy, I heard a really funny analysis of it yesterday. What I mean by analysis and funny was they are doing these in politics. Remember, I'm an old political hack, so I'm above the game in a sense. In other words, I'm not rooting for any particular team in general, but I am a conservative, so I mainly root for the capitalism and the GOP. And it's very rare that I root for the Democrats on any level, except for maybe local level. And even then, I don't root for them. So they're doing something called push polls. And what they do is they bring in focus groups, and they show clips of the particular candidate. In this case, it was Biden. And the polls show Biden up by 10, 12%. Junk polls, just like Hillary Clinton, the media comes up with these polls, bad stats on them. In other words, they're over polling Democrats and liberals and things like that, and under polling Republicans and independents. They do that, and the media never reports that part of it. They just say, "Oh my goodness, the president is 12% down or 10% down." So they're doing these push polls, and that's when they get on the phone and they push a candidate, and they're doing focus group polls combined with a push poll in the live place with 9 or 10 people here, or 9, 10 people there, or 20, and everybody's going. They're watching videos of Biden, and he's getting he's getting enormously low numbers, and so it shows me as an old campaign manager who has worked all the way now, I guess you could say, all the way up to the highest level of America, because I worked with Kellyanne Conway for a long time. She worked for me, at given projects, and we worked together in associates. So she's the head of the President Trump's independent councils or something like that up in the White House itself, and was the campaign manager that won him the election. So anyway, when we did that stuff, it meant that we were worried about our candidate. We didn't do that because we were happy about our candidate. We were worried about our candidate. And so obviously the Democrat Party is enormously worried about Mr. Biden, because they're doing these polls all around the country, and they're not coming out really at all very well. And so it's making, it says to me that the 10 or 12% that they claim that he has doesn't exist. Now, is stupid money possibly worried that they can run from the dollar, run to Europe thinking that it's safer because socialism's already there, and so it'll be at parity with the craziness of the U.S.? Could be. It could be that. It literally could be, and that could push it to the 125s. But I believe Trump's going to win in a landslide. All the math I see says he's going to. So, and I read real math. So I'm not totally convinced that money is actually seeing the right direction there. So let's see what Daniel says there. Okay, so fun fact: euro dollar broke the trend line from the top of 139, May 14th, to 125.18. At 116 was the breakout. Okay, usually this means we'll test 125, the first lower high, I guess, right? Is that how you look at that? The first lower high, right here where you said February of 2018. So they should test the 125. Okay, that makes sense. and I guess obviously in between there too. Daniel, nice to hear someone liking GOP as far as Europe. There isn't really a similar party in terms of influence. I think there's some, but I guess what was his name? What's the one that helped Brexit out in Farouk? Is it? You know, he had a conservative party working out of Brussels, right? Because he was head of it. And he's a constitutionalist. He was a big Trump supporter. Dollar index broke the trend line, starting with the 214. It might have to run to 88. 88 to 79. Yeah, let's first go to the euro, what you're talking about. I want to see that. Let's look at that. We'll put a weekly in and take a look at that. We'll do that on J4X. It's a lot better. And then we'll go, well, we got the dollar there, but I don't want to do the dollar. I want to do the euro. Because that does sound interesting. Let's look at that. That makes sense, too. Because I've seen that occur many a time, you know, where you're following a trend line break and you look at the lower high to figure where it may run to. So let's take a look at that. Right there. There we are. Let's make this a weekly. And I bet there's a 118 or something like that, because look at the way this thing is choking itself in the 116, 17s. And that's back to 214, right? And we can make this bigger, too, at the same time. So 214, what's that? Pappy Boynton's squadron, right? Pappy Boynton is my World War II hero. I love the Pappy Boynton. Let's see. VM 214, I think, right? Let's see. VM 214. Yeah, I think that was Pappy Boynton's outfit. Yeah, Black Sheep Squadron. Yep, 214. That's right, VMF 214. So 214. See, all kinds of numbers always appear in my head. See that hiccup right there? What is that? Is that the 25? That's 27s and change, right? And so let's see, that one right there, maybe? That's 23. That's 25. The bottom of it there, I see that support. Yeah, so that in there, and you can see it tried to get there back in, what was that? 2018, right? That's what you're talking about there. And or it could make a so it was making lower lows, and now it's trying to challenge a lower high, which is this high there, and it failed here. Now it started making lower lows again, but it didn't take out this low, that's a pretty dramatic low to begin with. And then now you can see it's trying to climb. I guess it's got that issue right there. What is that? Back in September of 2018. So you did say something about 218, right? Let's see, 218. I saw something in there. February of 218. Okay, February of 218. Yeah, so there's your February of 218, right? No, that's a little bit earlier than that, isn't it? That's August of 218. Okay. So that must be the indigestion it's battling right now. I would look for that play first. And that's what it looks like it's trying to do there now. Now, this Hinky Ashy is very interesting since it's an average, you know? Nigel Farouk, that's it. Farage. Yeah. Yeah, he's pro-capitalism. Big Trump. He was involved in the campaign with Trump before Trump became president. Every time you talk capitalism over in Europe, they call you a Nazi. So, I mean, it's like really weird. Nazis were socialists. I don't understand how they do that. National Socialist Party? Trust me, no capitalist organization is going to call themselves National Socialist Took another bite of that apple. Okay. Let's see, where are we at now? So, Yeah, I guess that's going to be interesting to see what this does. Maybe it'll do that William O'Neill cup and saucer. And this is the cup. Create a handle here. Go torture everybody a little bit and go into the 14s and 13s again. And then see if it starts to get legs. Which the bigger question is what is driving it. The only thing I can figure that's driving it is what is it? The $2 trillion or 2 trillion. What's it? 2.1 trillion euros that they're going to invest in Europe. Oh, seeing that is be believing. I mean, look at what Draghi did for so long. Talked about stuff like that. Instead, they just bought more bonds. I mean, they're not doing it in the private enterprise. Maybe this time they're probably going to do some private enterprise, and that would be nice. They need to do something, that's for sure, because they keep on taxing everybody to death, but they don't seem to give you anything for those taxes except for crumbs. All right, I see what you're saying, and Daniel, I think you're right. I think you've pulled out some interesting things here. I wouldn't be surprised we do. I don't know if we're going to get up to here, up into the 25s, for the handle. I would think that we may do the handle off of this area here from 2018 and 2019, and do the handle from there, right in here, and then see if they take off. By then, the election will be coming around. We'll see what happens then. All right, where do we go to next? I guess we go to the Swiss, or we should take a look at oil. Should we take a look at oil real quick, since we went through all the oil stocks themselves? So let's take a look at oil just real quick. It's been kind of quiet. Oil, just kind of moseying along, do, sitting on the old horse, just slowly moseying along on the horse. And there is, and that's a weekly. That's interesting looking. And there's the daily. It has that Turkish lira thing going on there. And we can shrink that down. And you can see there on line 5, 12 weeks in a buy and 4 days in a buy. I think I mentioned that earlier. And then let's take a look at it on the Chicago Quant now. Where are you? Right there. Whoa, what did I do to that poor thing? Just moseying along. There it is. You can see there, it's just kind of just there, no real excitement. Awful hard to break out of that area. That's the area we've been saying that it's probably going to sit and wait. I imagine if Mr. Trump does win in that landslide that I'm talking about, then what you'll see is more strength in crude and so forth. Because they're going to, once he wins, and I think he's going to take a landslide, so I think he's going to have the House and the Senate. He's going to get a lot of things done and fixed even more. He fixed a lot of things in 3 years. So that's why they had to turn the pandemic into craziness. I mean, does anybody know that there's no cure for the flu, and there's no cure for the cold? They give you a shot, and like taking those hydrogen pills, but they don't have a cure for that. And why are they in such a panic? I mean, honestly. Let's see. It's the media, and this is the Democrat campaign. Hey, okay. Let's see. See if I can say that name. Anat Sipran Frokas. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Please, yeah, betcha. Nice to meet you. Please get a better, louder microphone. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the microphone? Oh, there it is. How about now? There it goes. Is that better? That's no problem. How about now? Is it louder now? I accidentally, when I went to bite that apple, I pushed the microphone to my left, and it went flying away. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you. That is really good. Thank you very much. Hey, no problem. I took a bite of the apple. I was working on the plants out in the field, and just kind of, I worked all the way until about 5 minutes before the webinar today. I wanted to get a lot done out there because we've been in like the 45 Celsius area. 50 Celsius. We've been really hot, so I wanted to treat the plants a little extra nice. So, let's see what else we got going on there. So yes, I'm sorry about that. Oh, bummer. I'm glad you mentioned it because I took that bite of an apple like 6-7 minutes ago. So, all right, what's next here? So you can see here crude, quiet, doing nothing, kind of chill. All right, let's take a look at gold underneath it, and that's line 6. We are 7 weeks in a buy and 8 days in a buy. Put it up on J4X too. Do 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 do. Just moseying along. Dun, 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 dun. Now you can see here gold just steady and solid. Last couple of days, holding really firm. The range has really widened. I mean, this thing had a 75-point range yesterday, and it's going after those highs, which we thought it would. I mentioned that in the webinar yesterday. We figured that it would go after the highs again after they took it down $75. And so there's still strength there. You can see we're easily in our weekly buys and our daily buys and not giving up anything. Lots of green. You can see the same thing on J4X right there. Let's widen that out. You can see lots of green. You can see a little curving in the, just like ours is doing right there. Doing a little curving there. See that? It's doing the same thing. And a little weakness, but overall, you would just assume they make a new all-time high. I would think, especially with that abnormal sell yesterday. I mean, come on, really, driving it down to 19. I mean, I could see them driving it down to like 1960 or 1940 or 1930, but driving it down to 19. Come on. Doesn't anybody know who's doing that stuff? As we're in a world pandemic at the moment, all paranoid and nervous and worried about this, that, and the other thing. Now let's take a look at silver. Do 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 do. So there's silver doing the same thing. No reds there. And let's just go take a look at that right there. And that crazy volume that drove it into the minus is all gone. They've cleaned that volume up, the commodities exchange and so forth. So good for them. How about that? They can report things later in the day or the next day. Good for them. Not. Break the law. Yeah. Commodities Futures Trading Commission and the Securities Exchange Commission love to break the law. It's okay for them to do it. All right. Now, let's take a look at, what do we look at next? Anybody have anything out there they want to take a peek at? We'll go look at it. If not, I'm going to run over to, what am I going to run to? I'll run over to, what do we do? Oh, Swiss franc. We'll go Swiss franc if no one does. So I'll run over to Swiss franc then, I guess. Doom, 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 doom. Right there. Swissies driving down just like the dollar is. Cool. So they're buying Swissies. Swissies. Nope, not that one. Let's go to that one. Dookie Day. And Swisserato right there. Just driving down nice. It's been a weekly sell since back here. And it's been a daily sell since right there in the 94s. So, sayonara. Ooh, there we go. We got something. What do we got there? What are the fundamentals of Swiss? I think the fundamentals is that they're a very solid country, really good central bank. They have. I guess they must have decent growth. I'm not sure exactly what their GDP is like and all, but I did see they had that issue with the smelters at one point. But that's just a small side of it all, I would imagine. I think they're the largest smelters in the world, possibly. Bullion, melting metals, precious metals, that type of thing. But I think overall, in next Q, what is in next Q? I'll try the Q. But they're good investors. I mean, they bought They bought way, way down. Doc did 2 webinars on that, how well their central bank was buying stock. So, is Q for question? I think they got a lot of positive things going on. So I guess if people are running away from the dollar, I guess a good thing to buy is the Swiss. Let's see. Swiss economy shrank 2.6% on quarter in the 3 months to March 2020. All right. Most since records began in 1980. Compared with market consensus of a 2% contraction. That's not too bad because of the pandemic. Now, are they doing... I heard something interesting yesterday. Maybe you can help me on this. I heard that they were interviewing the chairman of McDonald's Corporation, the one that makes the burgers and all that stuff, the Golden Arches. And they had said that they thought their second quarter was going to be the low of the year. Is the 2.6, do they consider that to be the low of the year now? Is that going to be the, what are analysts, are Q3 looking for, higher numbers from there? Which makes sense, because remember, we are in the middle of a pandemic. The planet has been shut down. So, I mean, that the contraction of those numbers don't mean a heck of a lot. I mean, it's not like there was an economic thing. I mean, the government's shut down everything from people going to church to, which is really irritating, and so forth. Let's see, Q3 is 2.5 forecast. Okay. Swiss economy shrank to 2.6. Okay, yeah, so, and then what did it come in? It came in at 2.6 in the quarter? Okay. Okay. So they're thinking that it's going to start to flatten out. All right, we'll see what happens there. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not a big follower of economic stats, but I'm always interested in hearing them to see the correlation to things. So I'm always glad when someone tells me about it, or I read something about it. It's always nice to see. I appreciate the information. I'm a quant person more. I always look at the economic fundamentals as a story that's a laggard, whereas my math is a leader. So, nice, good insight there. We'll see. We'll watch for that. I'll remember those numbers in my head. I will. I promise. And then what we'll do is we'll look at it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a little bit better, but we'll see. Let's see. Now where are we? We are at. So that's the Swiss. Anybody want to see anything else? Next Q. That makes sense. Next quarter. Am I a simpleton or what? Sometimes. I like that. Next Q. I'm thinking like I queue really well. I went to school in England, so I'm really good at queuing. Next quarter. Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense to me now. All right, good insight. Thank you. All right, would you like to see anything particular? Can we put anything else up on the screen that would help out your fundamental analysis part? Is there any other price action or currency or a bond or something like that would that you would possibly look at that might give insight to some of the research you do or the reading you do and so forth? And if not, we'll slip over to the yen and see what's going on with the yen. There's the yen on the J4X on Dukascopy. And then let's put it up on ours. The Yenski. There we are. The yen, and that is line, what was that, 19? Yeah, 19 right there. So it's 6 weeks in a sell, but what has my eyeball is that it is 19 days in a sell. So it's over 4 weeks in a sell on a daily basis. When you're counting by weeks, not days, of course, because obviously we all know 5 days in a week. And so 20 would be 4 weeks, but this is going on the 5th week, so it actually it could have it could be 4 weeks back can be 15 days, even with 3 days today, it can still be 4 weeks back, and it actually could be 5 at the beginning. So let's see. Yeah. Oh, good. Good. We went to the right place then. Let's see. I am stalking. Oh, you're stalking the dollar euro. I like that. Right now. Sorry, you might have talked about it. I can go back to that, and that's no problem at all. Yeah, let's do that. There is a strong trend bias. Yeah, I agree. The yen has unconclusive fundamentals for me. Cool. I agree with that one too. Let's go back to the euro. Hey, I'm very malleable. You want to look at something? I'll go back and look at it again. I have no problem whatsoever. I'm a math person. So let's see if we can help you with that, or at least rewind the tape in a sense. And you can see there we've been in a long run with the euro. Kind of curious. What do you think about that on an economic level? Right there on line 14, we have been 10 full weeks now in a weekly buy, and 11 days in a daily buy with our math. And let's show it to you there. There's the daily buy, and there's our weekly buy in the euro. Does that correlate to anything economically that you're following that those points in space, in time, give insight to? Was there data released back then that showed that there was something more positive coming forward? Was that? Let's see, what would that be? That was in March, right? So is it? No, that's not March. June, no, May. That was in May. It went into the buy. So mid-May basically. So was there anything in mid-May that gave a signal economically, statistically, that had some profound, or had some type of strength or anything? Backed by EU Commission. Let's see. EU agreed to borrow money. Yes. See, that's what I've been talking about. That's exactly what I've been talking about. And then I talked about the meeting. Did you follow that meeting in Brussels about 2 weeks ago, where they did it for 4 days, and they were trying to figure out and agree with the 2.1 trillion? Yeah, see, that's what I like. I like when there's a story that can be commingled with the math. There always is in the end. We always find that there, it might be 3 months, after the fact that we find out about it. Yeah, so I've been thinking that that's the strength we're seeing. Is that maybe the most committable? Let me ask you a question. Is that the most committable that the European Commission has been in a decade? Is it that big a commitment? Actually getting it through the votes, getting it through acceptance. Let's see. I'm trying to do quant and fundamental trend bias filter. Very interesting. Very interesting. I find quants always, my quant in particular, always leads the fundamentals. And then we usually find out that the story matches up to the fundamental, months later. Okay, good. Good. I interpreted it the same way, because I always thought Mr. Draghi really did a good job of, talking it, but never getting anything passed more than to buy bonds and have, 14 or 15 trillion just pumped into minus, that type of thing. Yeah, minus bonds, that type of thing. Yeah, I respected Draghi enormously because of that. I thought that was really good. He got a lot, for the socialist environment he's in. He got a lot of done for not a lot of money, which is rare for socialists. Let's see. Let's see. I just bought the Stuttgart Euro book, and it was terribly negative on the euro, because it didn't see a commitment. Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think that's important. See, that's why Trumpy was doing so well here in the States. He's put a lot of commitment into, free markets and less regulations. but that was 4 or 5 years ago during the Greek crisis. Yeah, well, that was really weird, isn't it? That Greek crisis overall. Um, Again, Draghi did a good job of stabilizing things, but not growing anything. Would you interpret it the same way? He stabilized things, but there was no growth out of it. Whereas Trump, he stabilized things and grew at the same time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your response. Uh, yeah, I'm seeing it the same way you are. So, uh, and I'm really glad you've come to this webinar because we like to dissect our work and we like to dissect a lot of ideas there. It says that the lack of growth in you area follows. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that has been the problem. And now I guess what they're saying is that the money is thinking that there's going to be real growth since the committee or the commission has accepted the idea. I guess they got the Germans to agree. I guess that's what it really comes down to because of the pandemic. Basically, he says that the euro rate is needed differs from the country to country. Right, exactly. Like France would be happy if it was like 78 or 75, and Greece would be happy if it was at 60 something, and Germany would be happy if it was at like 130 or something like that. Maybe that's how they got the Germans to agree with the commission. Move the allow the euro to move up. Maybe that was the whole gig right there. That would make sense. So, I think we're going to label this webinar today quantitative and fundamentals because I think that's a without a doubt that has been the flavor of it. I really like that. I do like that. Let's see. Let's go to the because we are coming to the end and our markets are getting ready to open because the economies are different, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, some of them are actually trying to be capitalist and they get clocked for doing it. They're not allowed to, and they get punished, which is a real drag. Quant trading with fundamentals. Fundamental. Oh, not that. Fundamentals. Let's see if we can get that right. No. Okay. Fundamentals. All right, traders. What we're going to do is we're going to take off from here. Can I call you Farkas? Farkas or Anat? Anat. Either way, thank you very much. It was really good. And come on back because I learned, I got more confirmed than I normally do, from my crazy ideas. So that was really good. Let's see. Also, let's see. U.S. has a transfer union because money goes to the poorer parts from the richer parts of the U.S. Yes, it does because of the federal structure. Furcus. Okay, that's great. Thank you. We will catch you tomorrow if you stop back in. That's great, and we'll see you around. Thank you for being here. You and Daniel, you guys were great. All right, Doc here from North America saying arrivederci, and we will catch you on the flip side. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy